Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to lecture number 37. Before we begin, I want to talk about the final exam. The final exam will be targeting major 2 and the material of the final. Major 1 will still be included, but it will not be targeted. Okay? For example, we did solve here mesh analysis. You remember this example? When we solve this as a mesh analysis problem, it's from chapter 1. So we will not bring tricky problems from chapter 1. However, my recommendation is to study the homework for major 1, study homework for the major 1, and study major exam 1 itself. Okay? I think you should be fine if you study those two things. Okay? If you don't understand anything, go back to the corresponding slides. But the exam will target major 2 and the final exam. Back to the Zener diet. What did we say about the Zener diet? We said for the Zener diet, we can operate at the forward region if we apply a positive voltage, and we will model it as a battery of 0.6 or 0.7 volts. But this is not our main operation. Our main operation will be in the Zener diet. And we talked about the circuit. Okay? So again, if you apply a voltage of 5 volts, 2 volts, 0 volts, minus 2 volts, minus 5 volts, and VZ is, let's say it is 3 volts. In other words, at minus 3, we're at reverse breakdown. Between 0 and minus 3, diode is off, open circuit. Above 0, we are forward. Let's apply 5 volts. What is the voltage experience across the Zener diode? It is minus 5 volts. So we are operating at reverse region. So what will be the output? The output will be at 5 volts, the output is 3 volts. Minus 3 here. But this will be a battery of 3 volts. Why? Because the diode is minus 3. Minus 3 here, so the opposite is what? 3. So هذا voltage regulator كم يعطيك? 3. If the voltage is 2, what will be the output? The diode is off. So the output is what? Open circuit. V source, 2 volts. If the input is 0, what's the output? 0 volts. If the voltage is minus 2, so this is minus 2 of this. So we are operating at the forward region. So this will be what? A short circuit or a battery of 0.7. So what's the output? Let's say short circuit model. 0 volt. What will be the output at minus 5 volt? Still 0 volts. So if I want to draw, if I want to draw the input-output voltage characteristics, last time I told you it's like that, correct? That's wrong. Should be like this. If I apply a positive voltage, so this is V input. Anything 3 and above, which is VZ, it will be, the output will be fixed at what? VZ. Okay? So this is V out. Anything below, it will match the input. So here we have reverse. Here we have diode is off. This is reverse breakdown. This is diode is off. Anything below 0, 0, minus 2, minus 5, the output will be either 0 or 0.7. It doesn't matter, okay? Last time I did this. This is wrong. I made a mistake. Okay? That is the correction I wanted to make. So حاتم الزينر دايد لما يصير مقلوب it will be a voltage regulator. If you apply a positive voltage above VZ, the output will be what? If you apply 5, the output will become. If you apply 3, what's the output? 3. If you apply 2, what's the output? 2. So here we are regulating at 3 up until 3, then 2 up until 0. Anything below 0, it will be forward bias as a short circuit. Tamam? What will happen if I have the Zener diode flipped that way? I want you to understand very well. If you apply 5 volts, it will be 5 with respect to 0, so the diode will be in the forward region, so it will be what?
0.
On forward. So the output is what?
0.
0. If you apply 2 volts, it's 2, 0. Is it forward?
Yes.
Forward. Diode is short circuit, so what's the output?
0.
If I apply 0, it's still 0. If I apply minus 2, this is minus 2, if the diode is off, it will be what? Open circuit. So what's the output? Minus 2. If I apply minus 5, Zener will be reverse breakdown. So the output is what?
3.
Minus 3 volts. Again, plot input output characteristics. So this is V input, this is V output. Anything above 0, it will be short circuit, or you can do 0.7. But to make it simple, let's use 0. Jihad. The door is open. Okay? If I apply a jihad, a negative voltage up until minus VZ, what will be the output? Linear. And then here I have minus VZ. What will be the output if I apply below VZ? Minus 5, minus 4. Regulated at minus 3. So here I have what? Reverse breakdown. Here what I have? Off. Here what I have? Forward. Understand this example? It's not in the slides. It might come in the quiz. YouTube, solve this example. The last example. What if I want to have 2 diodes مقابلين بعض؟ What will happen? If I apply 5 volts, this will be 5, 0, this will be short circuit, but this will be Zener reverse breakdown. So what will be the output? Minus 3. Focus with me, ya shabab. What if I apply 2 volts? This will be plus 2, this will be short circuit. So this diode will be, the Zener will be what? Minus 2. Below minus VZ, diode is off, so this is off, this is off. Okay? No, this is short circuit on, this is off, open circuit. So the output will be what? Minus 2. 0 will be 0 volts, 0 volt, short circuit, 0 volts. What will happen if I apply minus 2? This will be regulate, this will be minus 2, this will be open, this will be short circuit. This will experience, so this will be on, this will be off. If I apply minus 2. Then what will happen? This will be open circuit, this will be short circuit, so the output is what? Minus 2. What will happen if I apply minus 5? This will be reverse breakdown, RB reverse breakdown, and this will be off. So what's the output? Minus 3. So how do I draw the input or output voltage characteristics? V input, V output, anything. VZ, this will be either VZ or minus VZ. and then in between I have linear.
And that is the input-output voltage characteristics. Okay, if I have this circuit.
So how many examples we just solved? 3 examples. Try to understand them. If you have questions, YouTube, call me on Teams, okay? Just call me. Okay? Yes. No, يكون على reverse breakdown. At -5, this will be reverse breakdown. This will be off. Okay? This will be short circuit. This will be battery off minus VZ. It will be 0. This will be minus VZ. So the output here will be what? Minus 3 volts. Go.
I think
Flip. Zener is hard. So here plus. No. This is correct, no minus. This will be plus E. So actually the curve will be like this. Let's do it again. If I apply 5 volts, this will be on short circuit. This will experience -5. So what will be the output voltage?
3.
This will be short circuit. This will be +3. If I apply 2, this will be, no, I reversed it, +2. If I apply 0, this will be 0. If I apply -2, this will be off. This will be reverse breakdown. No, this will be also off. So the output is -2. If I apply -5, this will be off. This will be reverse breakdown -3. So the curve is correct. Okay? VZ minus VZ minus VZ. Is it correct, yeah? None? You see it? If you apply 5, this will be forward bias, صح? Short circuit. This will be what? Reverse breakdown. So what will be V diode? -5. So what will be the output? +3. If you apply 2 volts, both of them will be off. This will be, one will be forward, this will be forward, short circuit. This will be what? Off. So what's the output? Open circuit, the output is matches the input. If you apply 0, 0, both are off, the output is short circuit. If you apply -2, this will be, this will be off, open circuit, this will be forward, so the output is -2. If you apply -5, this will be what? Reverse breakdown. Okay, this will be reverse breakdown. This will be what? Off. So the output is what? -3. Reverse breakdown, the output is VZ. No, if you apply -5, this will be forward. Okay, the last explanation is the correct one. And عكسنا في البداية. Okay? Get it? This might be a question in the quiz, but inshallah no. It's hard. But why I explained this? Explain this because it's very important in the next chapter, okay? In the next section, 9.7 and 9.8. So in the practical circuits, what do we have? We talked about the half-wave rectifier. We talked about the full-wave rectifier. We talked about 2 diodes on at the positive cycle. 2 diodes are off at the negative cycle. Then we talk about full-wave rectifier with the smoothing capacitor, and the only difference is you divide by half compared to the half-wave rectifier. Then we talked about the circuit for the phone charger. Okay? Did we solve this problem in the quiz? In the last class? Did we solve it? Okay. We solved this problem and we got this capacitance. We solved this problem. And today we will start the new chapter, which is basically nothing but the discussion we had here. Okay? Always you need to know, is the diode on or off or reverse breakdown? How many regions does the Zener diode operate at? 3 regions. Okay. So 9.7 is a bit, talks about everything. So if you study 9.7, you will understand everything before. So wave shaping. What does wave shaping mean? تشكيل. So if I give it an input, I can get an output of whatever I want. I can design it. I can manipulate the signal. Numerous examples of wave shaping circuits can be found in transmitters and receivers for television or radar application. في الرادارات, في the signal of the AC, Bluetooth. You always have to transform one waveform into the another. Antennas, if you transmit a signal over the satellites, you always have to shape the signals and then transmit them. One simple example is clipper. Clipper ايش معناته؟ قص. You clip the circuit, crop the circuit. clip مقاطع الفيديو. لما تسوي لها clip ايش تسوي لها؟ قص. clip. So same here, you clip the voltage. So diodes can be used to form clipper circuits in which a portion of the input signal is clipped off, cut it, okay? When we input in this circuit, let's look at this circuit. Is this a Zener diode or regular diode? So no breakdown operation. If it was Zener, things would be different. If the input is 0, what will be the output? I want you to focus and try to understand. This is the best way to solve a diode problem. If the input is 0, what will happen? This diode will be what? So here I have a battery in series with a diode. If the input is 0, this will be 0, this will be plus 6. So what will happen to the diode? Diode is off, right? If the diode is off, then I have open circuit, battery of 6 volts. Here I said it's a battery of 0 volts. Here I have a resistor of 2K. So what is plus minus the output? The output will be what? V open circuit plus 6 volts. Is the output measured across the battery and the diode or just the diode? It's challenging, right? So if the voltage is across the 6 volt and the diode, so this is open circuit. So what's the voltage here? 0. No current flows, so it matches the input. It matches the input up until, so if I have V input is 0, this will be open circuit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up until 6. I'm using ideal diode models. Up until 6, it's open circuit. The moment I become more than 6 volts, the anode will be higher than the cathode. And then this will be what? Short circuit if we input larger than 6 volts. Then what will be the output? Just the battery of 6 volts. The current will flow. There will be a voltage drop across this resistor. So the output is the output across the battery and the short circuit of the diode, which will be just 6 volts. So now I got rid of any input, 6, 7, 8, up until the peak. The peak has here what? 15. So from 6 to 15, the output is a battery of 6 volts. Up until you go negative, if you go negative, if V source is -1, -2, -3, up until -15, diode is off. And then if it's off, it goes back to the open circuit. And if it's open circuit, no current will flow, so the output matches the input. Okay? Khaldi, any news?
Yes.
Any news?
No, no.
Any urgent news?
I have some.
You have urgent stuff? Take care of it. Tawfiq. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
طبعا الحين لو كان الصوت لو كان 7 احنا قسنا من فوق وتحت.
لو كان 7 حينقص إلى 7 بس حتصير هذا فوق والنيجاتيف will also be off.
طب الحين 6 هذه حقت الصوت
حقة البطارية هذه.
البطارية.
هذه البطارية لعبت في خلت الكاثود high by 6 volts. Because the cathode is high by 6 volts, the diode will not turn on unless I provide a voltage higher than 6 volts. But when the diode is on, it will be what? Short circuit. So when the diode is short circuit, the output will be just the battery of 6 volts. Any voltage that the anode below 6 volts, the diode will be open circuit. Okay? Get it? Awaz, get it? Let me repeat one more time. You always need to look what is inside the circuit. Here we have a sinusoidal of 15. So the peak is 15 and minus 15. From minus 15 up until 6, the anode will be less than the cathode. So the diode will be off. So it will be open circuit. If the diode is open circuit, no current flows. So V input matches the output. Can be definite, be open circuit. The moment the diode turns on, this will be a short circuit. خلاص هنا صار عندي بطارية in parallel with whatever. Yeah, I have a voltage source here, but current will flow. When the current will flow, it will make the voltage 6 volt fixed KVL.
اللي كان في البولاريتي معكوسة بيصير تنقص بس من تحت صح؟
One step at a time. One problem at a time. هنا let's understand this first. Okay? So when V input is less than 6 volts, diode is off, V output will follow V input. V output will follow V input. هنا وهنا. If the input is larger than 6 volts, diode is on, V output is fixed at 6 volts. Another circuit. What will happen to this circuit? We flipped the diode and we flipped also the battery. We always try to make a guess, right? But now we don't need to make a guess. Why? Because you have AC signal. If you have AC signal, you expect the diode to be on and off. So you need to do the way I analyzed it. هنا قبل في الquiz we will have to guess. Why? Because you already have a fixed input. Now we have a variable input. Okay? Look at, always try to start from 0. If the voltage here is 0, this will be 0. This will be plus 9. So the cathode is raised by 9 volts. So if I have 0, 1, 2, if I have the input is 0, this will be off. If the input is 1, the cathode is 9, this will be what? Minus 1. When the input is 1, the sinusoidal is 1 volt. It's sinusoidal from minus 15 to 15. Start with the 0. If it's 0, this will be 0. This will be 0. So what's the voltage across the diode? Minus 9. So it's reverse bias. If it's reverse bias, it will be what? Off. Open circuit. So I have a battery of minus plus, open circuit, and then I have the resistor of 2K, and then I have the input. If the input is 0, this is 0, it means the voltage here is 0. It means the voltage at the cathode is 9 volts higher than the 0, and the anode is 0. So the diode will be off, open circuit. If the diode is open circuit, no current flows, so V input equal V output. What will happen if it's 1 volt? If it's 1 volt, this will be 1 volt higher than this one. If this is 1 volt higher than this one, it means, what is VD? You can do KVL. Here, KVL here. You know here it's 1 volt applied. Relatively, we don't know if the current is on or off. So V diode will be what? Voltage drop minus VD minus 9 equals 0 equal 1. So what is VD? VD here minus 1 minus 10. So it's reverse. So it's negatively. The more I increase the voltage, it will be minus 10, minus 11, minus 12, etc. So it will stay open. From 0 to 15, the diode will be what? Off. If the diode is off, so from 0 to 15 the diode is off, so the output matches the input. If it's minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, up until I reach minus 9, the diode will also be off. When the diode will turn on, if it's negative, higher than 9, if it's minus 10, minus 11, then this will be above the 9 volts. So up until minus 10, minus 12, so from minus 9 or up until minus 15, the diode will be on. If it's on, the output is short circuit. If the output is short circuit, what is the output? Minus 9. بطارية. Parallel. That's how to analyze these circuits. The clipper circuit. Understand this example? We didn't do assumptions if I was. Why? Because it's variable. So the best way to analyze the circuits with AC sources and the diode is to study it case by case. Okay, Hatem? YouTube, you have to watch it, okay? Okay? You have to watch it again. مواصل, صح? This is the problem after Ramadan. You understand the concept? Let's continue. Okay, جت لعبة ثانية. What if I combine both of them in parallel? What if I combine 6 with diode A and minus 9 battery with diode B? I will clip both sides. One time this will be on and short circuit, the one time this will be off. So I combine both curves together. How to analyze it? One branch at a time. So at positive, anything above 6 volts, this will be short circuit and the output will be 6 volts. So anything above 6 volts, the output will be clipped. Anything below minus 9, the output will be clipped. Anything in between, V input equal V output. If you understand this example and this example, you combine both curves together, you're clipping, limiting. So this is what we call in electrical engineering limiters or clippers. We're limiting the voltage not to exceed 6 volts. What is a good application for this? Khali, can you think of an application where I do not want to have more than 6 volts? We talked about it last lecture. شاحن. جوال. For the phone charger, I want to limit the voltage that the phone experiences. I don't want to have 8 volts. It will damage my iPhone. I want to cap it at 5. So what you're going to design is you add a small battery of 5 volts and a diode in series. What if you cannot add a battery? What do you add, Fawaz?
Battery.
Zener diode. If I replace the 6 volt with Zener diode, and we will see it now. So the input-output characteristics, when the input is larger than 6 volts, diode A is on. When diode A is on, the battery of 6 volts will be output, because this is short circuit. When the input is less than minus 9 volts, diode B is on, it will be on. So what's the output? Plus minus, minus plus, the output is what? This is short circuit, minus 9 volts. So this is the input-output characteristics. And the slope of this line is 1. Okay? What if we are, you remember this example? Talked about it at the beginning of the class. It was clipping, صح? I draw the output this way. So now you know this example. So a smart student will say, does it make sense to include a battery in the current or voltage limiter? Can we put battery inside the iPhone charger? Stupid, صح?
You need to replace it.
It's not a good idea. No, because the battery will die, and then we have to throw or replace the battery. So a smart student will say, I'm not going to put a 6 volt battery, I'm going to put a Zener diode with the polarity cathode here, anode here. Cathode here, anode here. So what did we include? Zener diode معكوس عكس البطارية. يعني لو تبغى بطارية minus plus 9 volt, what you're gonna put? You're gonna put the cathode here, the anode here. Why? Because you want to operate in the reverse breakdown. If it operates in the reverse breakdown, it will give you 9 volts, minus 9 volts. Okay? هنا التريك لما تبدل بطارية بزنر الكاثود تحطها محل البوزيتيف والانود تحطها محل النيجاتيف عكس المنطق. ليش؟ لأن أنت you're operating it at what region? Reverse breakdown, مقلوب. Not only that, we added 8.4, which is what? 9 minus 0.6 to include the 0.7 model. Okay? To include the 0.7 model for the original diode.
0.6.
0.6. This is 0.6, this is 0.6. So 0.6 plus 5.4, 6 volts. 0.6 plus 8.4, 9 volts. So this circuit is the one that is practical. This circuit is not realistic. Nobody puts batteries in iPhone chargers. We put Zener diode. So in the previous 2 slides, we have assumed ideal diodes. If small signal silicon diodes are used, we expect a forward bias of 0.6 or 0.7, so we should reduce the battery level voltages to compensate. Furthermore, batteries are not desirable for use in circuits if they can be avoided, because they may need what? Periodic replacements. Can you buy an iPhone charger and they expect you to throw it in 1 year? No. Get it? Or a laptop charger. Oh, you have to change the battery of the laptop charger. I'm not talking about the storage battery. I'm talking a battery that has to be added to control the voltage. It's an auxiliary battery. They have usually a symbol of auxiliary. AUX, auxiliary. Auxiliary يعني secondary, مساعد. بطارية auxiliary في السيارة. It's not the original battery. ايش هي البطارية اللي زي في بطاريتين في السيارة. في بطارية whatever في بطارية ما هي اللي يعتمد عليها السيارة. هذه same concept. Okay? So you understand is what you understand, if the voltage is above 6 volts, this will be short circuit, this will be reverse breakdown. But what? If the voltage is above 6 volts, This will be forward bias, short circuit. This will be reverse breakdown, voltage of plus minus 5.4. Because it's reverse, minus 4. The voltage across the diode is minus 5.4. بس حنا ناخذ الريفرس. من اسمه reverse مقلوب. If the voltage is below minus 0.9, the diode will be on short circuit. This zener will be a battery. So إذا شفت zener مع diode واحد zener يعني إيش؟ كأنه battery. Okay? And that's these two circuits are the most important one. Not only that, why we're wasting our money and two diodes? Why not have the circuit that I explained at the beginning of the lecture? If the voltage is above 8.4, this zener will be forward short circuit. This zener will be reverse breakdown. If the voltage is below minus 0.9, this diode will be reverse breakdown. This diode will be forward short circuit. And the output will be minus 0.9. This way you can have, this circuit will give you this input-output characteristics. So this, in my example, this was 3 and minus 3. Now it's 6 minus 9. So this circuit, I'm going to draw a heart on it, okay? The circuit, I'm going to draw what? A heart on it. Why? It's VIP, okay? It's not going to, I mean, VIP, because it teaches you too many things. And it's only 2 reverse breakdown diodes. Okay? Yes?
هل في طريقة نجمع أو نكنسل فيها الدرج؟
You need to analyze it the way I did it. Okay? So we have examples. I'm not going to solve them now. We will stop here. Next lecture, we will solve these examples. What I'm going to do in the last 5 minutes, I'm going to do a recap. Okay? Let's do a recap. So we began our lecture by bringing the example that I made so many mistakes in it, which is this example. This example we have tried. What we understand again in this example is if you apply a positive voltage, this will operate in the reverse breakdown up until you reach 3 volts or VZ. Anything below VZ up until 0, it will be open circuit. So V input will equal to V output. Anything below 0 or below 0 minus 0.7, this will operate at the forward bias and it will be a short circuit. I did another example where I flipped it. So if I flip it, any voltage above 0.7 or 0, depending on which model you use, this will be forward bias, this will be short circuit. Adnan, please correct me. It's easy to make mistakes here. If I put 2 diodes, zener, the cathodes facing each other, الخط المعكوف يقابل الثاني, then I'm going to have a clipper circuit on both sides. And we're going to have the last example I just did. I also reminded you about the zener diode model, and we love to operate the zener where? At the reverse breakdown. I reminded you about half-wave rectifier. Half-wave rectifier, we got rid of the negative signal, and then we added a smoothing capacitor. And then the equations to calculate the output from the ripple. We talked about full wave rectifier. We said you can use 2 circuits, 2 voltage source, 2 diodes, but this is not practical. We said use 1 voltage source and 4 diodes. 2 will be on at a time. A and B will on during positive cycles, C and D will be on during negative cycles. Then we add a smoothing capacitor. The difference between full wave and half wave is in the half divided by half. We will try to add this in the formula sheet. I'll try. I'm not sure. I'll push for it. Then we talked about the charging the iPhone circuit. This is the most practical circuit you will see in EE234. Supply voltage, transformer, step down to 225 volts, follow wave rectifier, smoothing capacitor, voltage regulator. We did examples in the previous lecture. Then we talked today about wave shaping circuits. We started by clipper circuits, and we said for this circuit the way to solve it is do not solve it like what we're going to do in the quiz. Assume a diode and then solve for the circuit. You have to consider all the possible inputs from minus 15 to plus 15. So you can start from 0. If this is 0, this will be positive, this will be more negative. So the diode will be off because the anode has less voltage than the cathode. So the input, this will be open circuit, so input will match the output. Up until 6 volts. Anything above 6 volts, this will trigger diode A to be on, and the voltage will be capped. This will be short circuit. So the output is what? A battery and short circuit. So the output is just the battery of 6 volts. So here, during the diode is clipped, diode A is on. When the input matches the output, diode A is what? Off. Okay? Another example we did, if we have a negative volt battery connected with the cathode. Note that we connect the cathode to the positive of the battery. The cathode الخط to the positive of the battery. Why? To make the cathode higher by minus 9 volts. So the diode will not operate up until we impose a minus 9 volt here. So it will be chopped. Anything larger than minus 9, which is minus 8, minus 7, up until plus 15, diode B will be off. If I combine both circuits in parallel, I'm chopping the top part and the lower part, and I'm maintaining the signal to be 6 and 9 volts. If I draw input-output voltage characteristics, we note that the output is capped between 6 and minus 9, given that the input is exceeding 6 or exceeding absolute value of minus 9. So here diode A is on, diode B is on. Then what did we say? We want to save more money. We can't put batteries in the chargers. Then what do we put? Zener diode. And why we added 5.4? Because we assumed the 0.6 model here. 5.4 plus 0.6, it will give you 6 volts. 8.4 plus
0.6. You give us 9.
This is minus 8.4 minus 0.6 will be minus 9 volt output. Keep in mind that for the Zener diode, if you want to replace with the battery, the cathode is where the plus and the anode is where the negative. Why? Because we're operating at reverse breakdown. Feel free to leave. We'll continue, inshallah, next lecture. We'll have quiz up until Zener died, before the halfway rectifier. Any question?